Bienvenidos a la Vida Lucky, donde celebramos a los negocios, artistas y activistas latinos en la Florida y le ponemos alegría a tus jueves. Cada historia, cada talento y cada esfuerzo son una muestra del poder y la unión de nuestra comunidad. Súmate para disfrutar de cultura, creatividad y ritmo, mientras los que están haciendo un impacto nos cuentan sus historias y planes para el futuro. Que la voz latina florezca con arte, negocios y corazón.
Bienvenidos a la Vida Lucky, otro día más, ya aquí como final de semana. Y gracias por sintonizarnos otro día más. Aquí siempre pues conociendo personas, hoy tengo una chica conmigo muy interesante y de eso se trata, ¿verdad? Si tienes un negocio, tienes una empresa, tienes que seguir conociendo personas, porque si no conoces personas, ¿cómo vas a promover, verdad, tu negocio? Hay que salir a la calle, hay que conocer personas, hay que promover, ¿verdad? Está lo digital, pero también está lo de ir a eventos y, ¿verdad?, conocer personas. La vida Boynton, que voy a estar haciendo, tenemos un evento junio 5 en Sabor Latino a las 4 de la tarde. Yo voy a estar compartiendo también en las redes sobre ese evento. Tú sabes, y si no sabes, te voy a acordar que como empresarios, como dueños de negocios, como representantes de compañías, tenemos que primeramente cuidarnos, ¿verdad?, a nosotros, y tenemos que cuidar de nuestras relaciones también, ¿verdad? Y como mujeres, escuchen bien, ¿verdad? Tenemos una carrera, tenemos familia, dependiendo de cuál sea tu situación. Unos tienen niños o algunos tienen los perritos o animalitos, ¿verdad?, que son sus hijos. Pero también nos tenemos que cuidar a nosotras y estar como que bien conscientes, ¿verdad?, de nuestra vida, de nuestra intimidad, de nuestras relaciones. Entonces, hoy tengo una invitada súper especial porque vamos a estar hablando, yo voy a estar, pues claro, la vamos a conocer, pero quiero que estemos hablando sobre pues la intimidad, nuestra persona, ¿verdad? Si es una relación, si están solteros y están en citas, ¿verdad? O dating. Y entonces todo eso, como mujer, tenemos una experta hoy que vamos a hablar de esos temas que a veces como medio tabú, pero vamos a hablar un poquito y vamos a conocer, yo estaba diciendo Ava porque yo siempre le meto el español, vamos a hacer el show, vamos a estar hablando en inglés, pero es Eva, y entonces tenemos a Eva aquí con nosotros. Y bueno, now I have to switch, right? From Spanish to English. So thank you for coming here. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I want you to start. I want to know who is, I said Ava because in Spanish, that's how I will read it,
Yeah.
but it's Eva. Who is Eva? Like, tell me about you, a little bit about you. What is I know we're going to talk about your passion because it's very clear.
Yeah.
But before that, I want to know, like, who are you? Share something with us.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I am very passionate about helping women to liberate themselves, and so we're going to talk a bit about that, but who am I? I am a partner of a man that I've been with for almost 7 years, who I am absolutely in love with.
Okay, very good.
I am passionate about, doing everything outdoors in Florida and paddleboarding and that sort of thing, connecting with my community, having fun. We live in a really great place for that. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about the work that I do and inside of intimacy and sexuality and dating and how that affects many, many women.
So you've been in Florida for 7 years.
Yeah.
The outdoors, what is your favorite in the outdoor activity?
Definitely paddleboarding. I like to go up into like Jupiter area to the beach, obviously sunbathing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, connecting with the elements is a big thing that I really enjoy. That helps me keep connected to myself. And
so I just met her today. She came from West Palm, and it's like, okay, so you like the outdoors, also you have to visit Boynton Beach.
Yeah.
I live in Boynton Beach, so it's like I have learned to like love it so much, and so I walk to the beach every day, and that's part of like my me time.
Yeah.
So that outdoor is like so needed. I need it. It's to the point that if I don't do it, even sometimes more on the weekends, my daughter, I have a daughter, she's 13. She'll say, "Mom, you need to go for a walk." You know, so like
Yeah, it helps
Meaning-
you stay connected to yourself and
Exactly.
connect with the nature around you. I think that's a big element of sensuality as well, as connecting to the senses. Activating our five senses is a big part of how we connect deeply to ourselves and other people. And sometimes we forget about those qualities.
And we're gonna talk about a lot of intimate information here, like because I grew up in Puerto Rico, so the Spanish family. I would never change it. However, it's very common for the lady of the house, the mom, taking care of everybody. And then we forget to take care of ourselves, you know, making the time for us, and a lot of times to be more aware, you know, like you said, be more aware. How did you decide? Do you went to school related to what you're doing now, or what got you into helping?
Yeah.
I was looking at your profile and the information that you sent me, and I love that you have like all this knowledge, but it's all so connected.
Yeah.
And helping, you know, so you're focused more on helping like executives or entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Ladies are out there, you know, working. I think that we forget about ourselves, right? That's what do you see in before you say that? But I want you to say, like, how do you got into this field and helping?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's been a journey, and I might say something you might not expect, actually.
Okay.
So I've had the privilege, the honor to be in, you know, unique extremes, I guess I'll say. And so there was, even before I got into studying sexology and intimacy and the subconscious mind, I was actually studying in India. And so I went deep into like Vedic philosophy, yoga. I was a yoga instructor for many, many years, all around South Florida. But what I found during that time was that it really didn't answer questions that I had around how does spirituality deeply connect to my sexuality, and how do those work in tandem with one another. And a lot of what I was told was kind of like, we have to move away from the body, move away from pleasure. And, you know, these are all things that are conditioning that invoke shame. And so I carried a lot of shame in myself and my desires. Now, fast forward, I flipped and I actually became an erotic dancer for about a year. And so I have, you know, this span of time where during the day I was teaching yoga and at night I was on the stage. And so what I found was either of those types of extremes in the way that I had lived them.
That's been brave, I think.
The way that I had lived them, neither were serving me to the deeper degree that I knew that was just going to make me feel alive. I mean, so many of us, especially women, they just want to feel alive again. They want to feel connected to themselves. And they might not know how to put words to that. And it was the same for me when I was experiencing depression and anxiety and PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
Yeah.
All the things that people want to give you a pill for, put a Band-Aid over, right? But what transformed all of that was getting deeply connected and understanding my desires, my pleasure, my body, and my erotic energy. And so all of that, I started to, you know, study things like sexology, and I became an authentic tantra practitioner. So I'm also...
Can you explain that a little bit?
Which part? Authentic tantra?
Yes.
Yeah, so tantra is a spiritual science.
Oh, okay.
It's a spiritual science that does not deflect the world around us, right? So our bodies, our experiences, our emotions, and we start to learn how to use that as workable energy. We use it as a blueprint to understand our internal world and our external reality. And so the result of that is a deeply grounded approach to this connectedness that we all really, really desire.
I think we all, I agree. Like we're all looking for that connection. And I've been learning little by little to be aware. Like you mentioned something that I can identify myself, like pay attention to my body. And I understand that, like I mentioned before we started the show, like going through the menopause. So like, of course I went to the doctor and they want to give pills. I'm not taking no pills. And it's like, okay, so I'm going to deal with this with, different ways. And I try to be happy, but also going back to the body, like being aware of the body, because our body can tell us things when we're not paying attention, when we're not, doing things for ourselves. And then in the intimacy part, so right now, like I'm single, I don't have a partner, but when I had a relationship, it's so important because it's the most intimate relationship experience, that we can have with another person.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's so important, and it's like that deeper connection with that loved one, whichever whoever.
Right.
So when I started the show in Spanish, I was telling the ladies listen, and then the guys too, listen to the information. Like our we can connect in so many different different ways. And I think having someone like you, I think that after this also I wanted to have like a one-on-one too. Because I have like 1,000 questions, and this is like 30 minutes. It's just not. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
How is it? So, I really so far like the story. So it's like I like when someone go to like the extremes, And a lot of times also like growing up, if it's a religion or if it's whichever belief that made us think that something is bad.
It's a huge component of the work that I do, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. We have all sorts of conditioning, men and women, right? I work with a lot of men as well and couples. It's not just women, but particularly there's information that we receive generationally as well as societally and then religiously. And so there's lots of forms of conditioning that are going on that end up influencing the way that we feel about ourselves and the way we also show up inside and outside the bedroom. And so you mentioned one of those was hormonal fluctuations, like menopause, right? And that's absolutely valid. I've worked with so many women that are going through menopause or they're premenopause, postmenopause.
Okay.
There's varying degrees, right? And although I'm not an expert in hormones, I know that hormones obviously influence our sexuality, the amount of pleasure that we are having. But what I can say is that what we're overlooking, especially as women, is that our hormones are meant to be indicators of where our internal radar is. So that means when we're experiencing the varying emotions or not allowing ourselves to feel, right? When we have these hormonal fluctuations that are normal and natural and it feels extreme, which is not normal, it's simply highlighting and magnifying whatever is underneath the surface. And so as someone that has dealt with PMDD, I dealt with that for almost a decade. And everyone's like, it's a disease, it's something that is incurable. That's not true. It's simply not true. We don't have a fundamental understanding of hormones and how they are intricately related to unresolved trauma, emotions that we're not feeling, our ability to feel safe in the body.
Yes.
And so a lot of times when I start to work with women, they'll start to feel things they've never felt before. But feeling is the way to freedom, is the path to freedom. And so if you want to feel alive,
feeling is
and
a
connected,
secret, right?
Right.
Like we have to pay attention. I really enjoying what you're saying, because a lot of times, and I'm talking in general in everything, how it's so important what we believe in everything. So even what we believe about the hormones, or what do we believe about the biology or the body,
right,
can affect all that. So I love all this topic in the part of, you know, the feelings, like pay attention to the feelings.
Right.
And I think for a lot of years, like talking about myself, I like tried to cover like my real feelings, you know, like nobody knew exactly what was going on in me.
Right.
And now I have learned, I think my daughter's been helping me too, because in my case, I have tried to be more aware of what I say, how I behave, how I feel, and what I share with her. So she has put like an effort on me to not even be better, but like be real with her. Like just, you know, so we talk about the importance of the feelings and, you know, in the female.
Right.
And then what is our role. So, you know, like I told you, like like I'm single, like I'm going in dates, and then sometimes it's like a little challenging. It's like, what is supposed to be my role here? Or, you know, it just...
What do you mean by role? What do you mean by that?
So I am allowing myself to, like, you know, meet, you know, go on dates or meet other, you know, another person. And then as I try to just like get to know the person. And for me in my head, I let that person lead the dating and the communication. And then I have received complaints because I don't initiate a call, or I don't, you know, or I try not to over impose or things like that.
Interesting, yeah. You know, it's funny that you say that. Like, I grew up with a mom who was always telling me, like, men only want one thing and one thing only. And I love my mom. I adore her.
Yes.
And there's certain things that she experienced, right, and certain beliefs she had around relationships. And so when she told me that, it's like...
So she said that they were only focused on one thing.
They're only focused on, like, they just want to touch you, they just want sex. And believe it or not, many women carry this thinking into their long-term relationships and their marriages. And so when we carry beliefs into that, what we're trying to do at that point is protect ourselves from the potential of pain. But when we're constantly trying to protect ourselves, like not initiating, right, or not voicing what we're actually feeling or needing or experiencing, we're actually blocking ourselves from that person seeing us. And so we're doing them a disservice, and we're also doing the relationship a disservice, because we're not allowing the intimacy that we want to actually come in. So if it doesn't come in, right, a lot of times we see women then forming a lot of resentment in their relationships. I carried a lot of this in the beginning of my relationship, anger, and things that continuously push our partners away rather than invite them in to that healing process of what a relationship is. A relationship is the biggest healing journey that we'll ever be on in our entire lives.
I agree. I listened to... I was listening to a video. It's Esther Hicks, and and she talks about, you know, a lot of people asking for money, but a lot of people really asking for a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and then I like how some people are saying like the relationship is the more challenging experience, or if you call it event in life, because I think we have so much power. We can create, you know, our life. We can choose and decide and so on. And we're, you know, I think a lot of people are, looking for that relationship. We need to like pay attention. So what I share with you is because I've been trying to pay attention to what I do, what I said, and, you know, like why all those things.
Right.
And I'm not in a rush to have like the next person. I want the next person to be long term, to be like my last person, you know?
Yeah.
And then also I have a daughter, so it's like, you know, looking for, she helps me a lot to be like more clear of what I really want because I'm telling her that. So then I'm trying with the things that I tell her, like as a mom, I'm looking at me and I'm like, wait, I want this and I haven't done it. Or, you know, like more clarity. I think that's the word. More clarity on what I want.
You know what I call that?
But,
That's when we stop being good girls the society has told us to be. And we're like, no, I want this. I'm not going to settle. And this is what I desire. And so what comes out of that is action. Aligned action is required after that, right? It's not, there's this whole thing on, you know, mainstream is like femininity is about sitting back and letting things flow, but it's really not. It's about aligned action for us to actually go out there and meet those needs, meet the intimacy and connection with ourselves that we're desiring in another person. And so that is the most beautiful gift that we can give ourselves.
wow. now, like I laugh because now, like I'm thinking, it's like my goodness, I have so much information. I think we need to do like 10 shows about this.
Yeah.
Seriously. So it's so important. Like one of the programs that I do is Neighbor to Neighbor, and it's with seniors. But I'm always telling them and like presenting how we need that connection with that other person. Because here, of course, we talk about intimacy or, you know, the relationship with a partner, but also as a friendship, you know, we need like that connection.
Right. Yeah, this isn't just about romantic intimacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like meeting these other people, getting to know them, and have that connection and then that relationship.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place because Ava just have like opened my mind. Is like going all over. Okay, and I thought that I had when I learned about you. I said, okay, I know what exactly I'm gonna ask her, just because, you know, it's so interesting. But now I have like I said, like 10,000 questions. So that connection in the intimacy part. Now, like we talk about, you know, the ideal relationship, right, that I want, and so on.
Yeah.
I have met a lot of ladies that they have like no interest. They don't even want to, you know, talk about the intimacy or sex, or they don't even, and they feel like it's not for them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, you'll have relationships that need help, that need you. 'Cause you know, that the wife, the girlfriend, the friend, whoever, you know.
I hear this so often. Yeah.
Exactly.
What I can say is that, to be honest, a romantic relationship cannot thrive when it is devoid of erotic energy. And so when I say erotic energy, I don't just mean the act of having sex, which for almost everyone is
Automatically they think.
right. It's just intercourse, and it's not. Sex is so much more than that. And so what I also find when women tell me, and it just breaks my heart when I hear this constantly, sex isn't for me, it's not something I've ever enjoyed. I'm currently even working with a woman who's never had an orgasm before. And so these are all things that, again, we're talking on the topic of intimacy and connection. And so when we have these beliefs about what pleasure gets to be like for us, or something that we just have to perform out of a duty of the relationship, again, it's forming so much resentment. And so a big piece of this is us not understanding our bodies and how they actually function, which is much different than how a man's body functions when it comes to pleasure. And
exactly,
so,
it's completely different. And I think, well, you know more than me, like, because you're talking and helping, you only work with ladies, you only work with females.
I do some hands-on work, yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of it is around them deeply connecting, so giving them the skill sets and the understanding of how to apply those skills. I mean, intimacy, sexuality, pleasure, they're all skill sets that we've never learned how to actually implement and utilize.
So it's how important, like, I always like tell people, like, we have to keep learning.
Yeah.
Not only, okay, we learn business, what's going on. If we have a faith belief, I have my own. I told before, like, I don't have a religion, but I have my belief, and I keep learning on it. But also we have to learn about ourselves. And it's like, what do we like? And for me, like,
Yeah.
life is supposed to be fun, and for us, to enjoy. So then also ourselves, our body, what makes you feel happy, excited, and all that. Like that, I believe in all that. So
Yeah.
it's like, I wish that every female, every lady will, like, hey, like, get into that mentality that I deserve to feel good, to have good feelings, to be happy, to enjoy life. And if
Right.
if I'm in a relationship, I want to enjoy everything,
Up until old age. I mean, we've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years, where sexuality is deeply interconnected with our mental health and our longevity as human beings.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so you can look at, like, I get told, oh, you're so young all the time. But the thing is
They tell you that?
oh, yeah, of course. But the thing is, I'm like, right. And when you actually tune into your ability to receive pleasure, experience sensation in your body that you've never have before, you stay young, you look vital, and you're glowing from the inside out all the time. And so oftentimes as women, like, this is the bridge between emotions and having a successful, like, relationship. It is the sex part that we want to always avoid.
Yeah.
It's that, because it's not just about the act. It's about the liberation, the freedom that comes out on the other side of that exploration. Like, we're talking about what we want, what we desire,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
These are all things that when we close off our hearts to the world. I mean, so many of us are walking with a shield up because we're trying to protect ourselves. That does not allow eroticism to flow anywhere. And, we're talking about on the basis of relationships, but this flows through in our businesses as well. Most of my clients, they'll come in with things happening in the relationship or with their bodies, or maybe even a sexual dysfunction. But we always turn to the topic of, like, what are you passionate about? How's business going? Right? And how can we apply that now into the way she's showing up in the world? And so this applies to the way we make money, to the way we create,
Yes.
to the things that we call in. And so there's a huge component there with sexual energy and eroticism. Yeah.
Wow. I always tell everyone, when we're talking about business, you have to take care of yourself. And again, I have to mention my daughter, just because she has been my biggest teacher until, like, I feel I want to be a good mom. So I learned, just recently, so maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago, that, wait, I need to take care of myself. I need to do things for me. And you mentioned something is not only, of course, we're talking about, like, relationship, like a partnership or a husband, wife, or if it's just you, if you're single, still, then, damn, you have more time, I will never change anything of my past, but something that I will do different is, like, maybe to do more things for myself when I was, before.
Right.
But I don't regret it. I don't regret it. So going back to what I wanted to say, the time, believe it or not, it went so fast. There's so much information. There's so many things that I wanted to ask, but we have to take care of ourselves. So I love everything that you share with me and everyone today. How important, to be aware of our feelings and appreciate it, and let's learn more about ourselves, and we have to take care of ourselves so we can be better. So that's what I was trying to say. So it's like, we have to take care of, if I'm good as a person, if I feel good, I'm going to be a better mom. I'm going to be, a better a business owner, a better entrepreneur.
Right.
I'm going to be a better friend.
Right, without skipping over the good stuff, right?
Exactly. We need to have fun too. It has to be fun. We need to enjoy, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
our time is gone, but before, like really briefly, if you can give an advice to a lady that maybe thinking about it, is aware there's something, is not right. Just, I know it's hard, like briefly, but pick one advice because you have 1,000.
I do. One of the biggest things that I hear from women is that they're waiting to address these things until something is going on in a relationship that needs to be fixed. And my suggestion is that pleasure is your responsibility. Intimacy is your responsibility. And so that is empowerment.
Wow.
That is making a choice without having to wait until, stuff is really bad. That's making a choice within you first before, hey, I have to go ask the husband or I have to go ask the wife, right?
Yeah.
It's an internal, autonomous way for us to increase our own power.
Yes.
And say, this is what I want. This is the choice that I want to make. This is what I want to commit to. Because at the end of the day, I want to feel alive and I want to feel connected to myself and the world around me. And so that can only come from you. And so my biggest advice is to understand that it does not come out from outside of you. It doesn't come at a certain point. It doesn't come when things get better or when you have the time. It comes now when you make it your responsibility.
Exactly. So we Ava, can I call you Ava?
Yes.
Ava, your name is Ava. Thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate your taking time and share, all this beautiful information. I'm already in love with you. So we have to have a one-on-one and talk more about all this. And people, time is gone. So thank you so much for, watching us or whenever you had the time to look over. If you have any questions, you want to share your story here with me in La Vida Lucky, give me a call at 407-719-2105. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Gracias por compartir aquí en La Vida Lucky. Sigue apoyándonos, ven, visítanos para que compartamos juntos lo que es el mundo latino, la vida latina aquí en la Florida y en otros lugares del mundo. Te espero.